Welcome to Otaku Informers 2.0. I am here, my name is Rashid. I am here with my two co-hosts, Felipe and Matt. How are you doing, Felipe?
Pretty good. It's getting hot again. It was cold and then hot and now it's hot again.
Heat wave around the world. How are you doing, Matt?
Basically the same. It's too hot.
Alright, so without further ado, in this Otaku Informers 2.0, what we're doing is we're jumping straight to the point. So, San Diego Comic-Con was this weekend, and we have gotten an updated time frame and plan of Marvel Phase 4. So this is going to be a Marvel Phase 4, 5, 6 special episode. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. On the screen, what we can see right now is the updated slate for Phase 4 that Phi God has shown in the at San Diego Comic-Con. So again, we're gonna calling him Phi God, and I have to give credit where credit is due. Felipe. So
Word plays.
Without further ado, let's jump straight into what I'm sure everyone who is watching or listening, or out of all three of us, we've all heard it. People have been complaining about Phase 4, saying, "Where is this going? What are they doing? They have no plan!" And then Feige came, and then he literally... Okay, I was going to make a bad joke, but then Feige came, and he was like, "You think we have no plans?" And then destroyed everybody's brain. So, we're going to go through Phase 5 and 6 in the next video, but in this video we're just going to go through Phase 4 and compare it with Phase 1, 2, 3 as well, if possible. So the first actually, not just movie, because Phase 4 was the first phase that had TV shows. The first in Phase 4, following Avengers Endgame, was WandaVision. What do you guys think of WandaVision? We're not going to do reviews of everything. I just want us to get a feel of what we personally thought about Phase 4. I'm just going through one by one. So Matt, what do you think about WandaVision? Let's start with you.
It's my third favorite Disney Plus show still that they've made so far. Yeah. Third? Ooh, that's tough. Ooh, I'm not going to waste too much time thinking about this. Yes, third. Third favorite. And I think it was a good way to start off the Disney Plus shows. It was a really good, this is what we're going to do with our shows type thing.
Would you, before I go to Felipe, would you consider WandaVision as good or better than some of the movies we've had in the past, before in Phase 1 to 3?
Yes, I'd say so, especially because it had more episodes than the other Disney Plus shows, so they're able to actually have a longer storyline. So compared to the movies, I think, yeah, it's comparable to some of the movies we've had so far.
How about you, Felipe? Did you watch WandaVision, by the way? I don't think I've asked you. Did he just freeze?
I think he just froze.
Okay, so while Felipe is frozen and gone, quick question. Could you quickly remind me, Matt, I know you have the Wikipedia page open, what was in Phase 1? Where does Phase 1 start? Just let's read out a list of Phase 1 to 3. Because for me, it's important to be able to validate what people are saying about Phase 4 by comparing it to Phase 1 to 3. And maybe Felipe will be back by then.
Let me stream my screen then.
Let me know when it's safe for me to click on watch stream. So you don't have anything in the background that you don't want the world to see.
That's fine.
Okay. Watch stream.
Infinity Saga. There we go. Phase 1.
Oh, that's a good list. Okay.
So Phase 1 has Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, and then it ends with Avengers.
Okay, let's just, me and you talk about this right now. Iron Man, amazing movie. I loved Iron Man. Incredible Hulk, let's agree. Not very good. Iron Man 2, the only thing I remember... The only thing I remember from Iron Man 2 is him having a party with his Iron Man suit and throwing a champagne bottle with California from Tupac playing. That's all I remember from that movie. Thor? Let's admit it. It's not that good. It's actually pretty damn bad. Captain America First Avengers from Iron Man 1 is the only one that's okay, right?
Yeah.
And then we have Marvel's Avengers, which was a great movie. So,
Yeah.
out of the 6 movies in Phase 1, let's agree there's only 2 good ones and 1 decent one and 3 bad ones. Then let's look at Phase 2. Phase 2 starts with Iron Man 3. A terrible start. Okay. Then we have Thor: The Dark World. A worse following. Then we have Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which for me, to be honest, was the first very good Marvel movie since. Out of all the movies of Marvel, it was Iron Man 1, Marvel Avengers, and then Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I would say Marvel Avengers top. Then I would say Iron Man. Then I would say Winter Soldier. Then I would say Iron Man. What do you think about those so far, Matt? Would you agree? Yeah.
Phase 2, I actually like Iron Man 3. I'll be like the odd one out. I like Iron Man 3. I agree, Dark World was not good. Thor 2 does not need to be spoken of. Winter Soldier was very, very good.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2, awesome.
Guardians of the Galaxy is one of my
Age
favorite.
of Ultron.
It's bad.
Do you want
Age
to
of
just
Ultron.
Felipe, we'll get your thoughts on
not
Phase
great.
1 and 2 right after. Okay.
And then Phase 2 ends with Ant-Man. I did not remember that. But
It's because they had no plan,
Ant-Man.
Matt. They had no plan. No, I'm joking.
yeah, I liked the first one. I think the first one is better than Ant-Man 2. Ant-Man is better than Ant-Man 2. There you go. That's my hot take.
I totally agree with you because I think Ant-Man 2 is even worse than Ant-Man 1, but I did not like Ant-Man 1. Me quickly, and then we'll get Felipe's thoughts. In Phase 2, I think Winter Soldier was great, as I just said. Guardians of the Galaxy, for me, the first one, was one of the best Marvel movies. I did not like Age of Ultron at all, and I did not like Ant-Man. And part of this is, Ant-Man was supposed to be fully directed by Edgar Wright, and he left halfway through the project because they didn't want him to make his vision. And you know what I think about projects where the director leaves halfway through? They become bad. So Felipe, out of Phase 1 and 2, which ones are the ones that you like?
not in any particular order, but the first Avengers is like probably the best one. Like no
Really?
particular order, but I think the Avengers, like the first Avengers, is like it has a like nice build up that DC wishes they did in hindsight. Like they have like individual movies building up to a team. It's logical. So Avengers is like the first one I think was like well executed, and then Civil War for sure.
And Civil War is not there.
Sorry, I'm confusing. Like Captain, oh my God,
Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier. Yes, yes, Winter Soldier. And the one that surprised like the most is Guardians of the Galaxy. This team of a bunch of unknowns. They had really good writing and action scenes. So Guardians of the Galaxy, for sure.
Guardians of the Galaxy, and then we'll move on to Phase 3, and then we can finally get back to Phase 4. What was amazing about it is that everyone was like, why are you making a Marvel movie with a raccoon in a tree? And then everybody fell in love with them. And it made me personally go and read the comics. There was like, I forgot what was the trade, but anyway, I love Guardians of the Galaxy. So then we move on to Phase 3, but before that to close, so Phase 2 was not that good other than Guardians of the Galaxy and Winter Soldier. There was nothing else that's really good. Alright, then we have Phase 3. Phase 3 starts out with Civil War, which is arguably one of the best Marvel movies. Doctor Strange, I don't know what you guys think about it. I'm meh on it.
I I like it more than the sequel. Oh, that's
Wow,
tough to
hot
say.
take.
Nah,
Hot take.
no, no, no. I take that back. I take that back.
It's okay.
They're
You don't have
equal to
to.
me.
It's
I
okay.
think it's good. No, no. I think they're equal. It's a good movie. It's not the best MCU movies, but I like Doctor Strange as a character, so maybe that's why I'm a little biased.
How about you,
But
Felipe?
it's not one of the worst MCU movies.
I mean, it's phase three, so like
Did he
end
freeze
game
again?
is for sure.
Oh.
Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yeah, yeah, we can.
Okay, yeah. So it's phase three, so like obviously the top three, possibly, right? Is Infinity, it's Endgame, and Civil War. Like phase three had like the best movies altogether. But
100%.
overall, they're all good. Ragnarok is pretty good. Black Panther, not only talk about like story wise, but also like what he represents in real life. Like people
I
don't
mean,
think that
yeah.
like like this is like Black Panther is one of like probably one of the best movies in cinema where like it's representation and it's like what it means for people, you know.
I actually like that you said your overall thoughts on Phase 3 so we can go faster. Me, my overall thoughts on Phase 3 is the reason why people are complaining about Phase 4. It's by far the best phase. I mean, look at this. You have, so Civil War, incredible. Thor Ragnarok, incredible. Avengers Infinity War for me is personally the best comic book movie ever made. It is for me literally better than like as a comic book movie. It's what I had always dreamed of seeing. I prefer Infinity War way more than Endgame. A hot take. I liked Endgame, but I don't think it. I don't like it as much as most people. Ant-Man and the Wasp. I did not like it. So yeah, out of all of those movies, Far From Home and Ragnarok and Infinity War and Civil War are four amazing movies for me. The rest I don't like that much. How about you, Matt? Thoughts on Phase 3? Matt?
Phase 3 is the best one at that point. Because we haven't talked about 4 yet. Um, let's see, my favorite out of those. Ooh, Endgame. I'll be one of the normal, basic people and say Endgame's the best out of those.
It's okay.
But I love Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man's my second favorite superhero. So I'm gonna say the Spider-Man movies are just as good.
Okay.
Like they're second and third place for me.
So now we've gone through this. You don't have to share your screen anymore. Like we're not doing an in-depth review of of all these movies. We've said what we overall think about it. Now let's go back to analyzing Phase 4. So we have WandaVision. Then we have Captain America, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I personally, it was a surprise. It's not my favorite thing out of Phase 4 at all, but I actually kind of like Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think Wyatt Russell, or whatever his name was really good in it. And yeah, what do you guys think about Falcon and Winter Soldier? It is my least favorite Marvel TV show, though.
I'll go first. I also
Or
just
yeah.
caught up on Falcon and Winter Soldier, so I think it's one of the shows that actually builds up on something relevant even to real life. So not only it continues on like the previous saga, but it builds up even further like the real struggles and like the common struggle that everybody's facing now. So it's finding a way to like mix real life possible scenarios combining with like the fiction. So I like that.
How about you, Matt?
I forgot it was a series. That's how much. That tells you how much I don't care about that show. I was just like, okay, cool, woo.
All right. So I actually, I mean, I liked it, but I'm on the same page as you, man, in the sense that it is my least favorite out of the Marvel shows. Then we have Loki, which is honestly my favorite Marvel show, I would say. How about you guys? It's hard to say because I really, really loved. I, I love no, it's my favorite. I mean, I really liked Moon Knight as well, but yeah. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So
So far,
Loki.
Loki is probably the best show or like thing out of Phase 4, including movies, because I think it shows us what Phase or the current saga is all about. We're gonna talk about more about Phase 5 and 6, but we can see what the saga is about the multiverse. And we can see
Yeah.
in Phase 4 what they're beginning to do. So before we talk about quickly on Loki, people complain about Season 4 is not as good about like as Phase 3. No shit, Sherlock. Like this is the beginning of a saga. So they're
Yeah.
introducing concepts and characters like the multiple planes, like in Moonlight or Loki, the multiple universes inside universes, like the pocket dimensions, like the TVA and a bunch of other stuff. So they're introducing. So Loki is very well executed, and it's the beginning of the grand saga. We see what like the over. We can see the end game. Yeah, see what I did there? End game of
Oh.
the saga. So this is like introducing different concepts. The only thing that if we're gonna get that just like brief, is like Black Widow breaks that continuity because everything is going on forward. Black Widow had to go back in time, but that's like fourth wall problems. But anyway, Loki was amazing, and I can't wait for season 2.
I'd like to just quickly comment on that because Felipe, I think what you just said is actually very, very smart because I didn't really look at it that way in the sense that, like, the same way that phase one and even phase two was setting up phase three, like, phase three is so good because they set up a lot of stuff in phase one and two. Like, I think people are way too hard on phase four because it is setting up the pieces for phase five and six. So you're right. Loki was starting to explain everything. Even WandaVision, by seeing Quicksilver show up, was also another taste of the multiverse, right? Because I mean, I know, or no, she created Quicksilver, so he's not technically from multiverse because she created him, right? So yeah, but you,
Technically,
yeah.
technically, that guy was just a normal guy in the 616 universe, right? It wasn't Quicksilver. It's just he looked like the X-Man Quicksilver from the X-Men universe, and then
True.
she just applied the her brother onto him, right? In the all that magic and stuff that she did, she just thought, yeah, he's my brother. It's like, no, 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 no. That was just made up. He's just a normal guy in the 616 universe that happens to look like the Quicksilver from the Fox X-Men universe.
Actually,
That's
actually, I'm pretty sure that was Agatha's doing because she wanted to get into her head for her to open, like, to lower her defenses to learn more about um, the Scarlet Witch's magic. So it's
Mhm.
not that Wanda wanted to do this; is that Agatha wanted to get close to know more about. So like that's why Wanda was surprised. Like, hey, that's not what she looked like, but she just kind of like accepted by the fact that like must be my weird magic is inside this weird dome that I created. So she just accepted, but she didn't create him. So the guy does exist, but just Agatha just like, huh, there's this guy named Pietro. Let me use my Agatha magic to boom. So this is what's happening here.
we don't have
Is
time to
that-
argue this,
Yeah.
but I would argue this. But
Yes,
we don't have time to argue.
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
yes, for the chess, indeed.
So basically, we all agree that Loki was great. Any of you get? Well, it was not perfect though, but I do think it was great. There were a couple of episodes that dragged a bit, but I overall really loved it. So I'd like your both of you, since you watched Black Widow and Eternals and Shang-Chi, just tell me what you guys think about it. Where does it rank in Phase 4 for you guys? And then we'll jump to the rest. I didn't watch those three, so these are the only three things in Phase 4 that I didn't watch. So I'll let you guys talk about it.
We'll start by saying that I did not watch Eternals yet. I'm sorry, but I saw enough reviews and say that it sucked. Not because it was not good, but because it was trying to do too much in little time.
Let's let Matt talk about it since he actually watched it. So
Yes.
let's Matt talk about Eternals and
Yes.
Black Widow. Matt, it's you.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah. You have the floor.
yeah. All right, just really quick because you guys brought up good point when you were talking about Loki, but Marvel officially stated or officially confirmed that Phase 4 is the start of the Multiverse saga, right? The new saga. Phase 1 to 3 was called the Infinity Gauntlet saga. Phase 4 to 6 is the Multiverse saga. So it's based in what you guys are talking about is officially confirmed that Phase 4 was the setup phase for everything else that's going to happen. So that's why people don't like it, because, hey, Phase 4 is setting up all the cool stuff that's coming, right? But back to the real point. Really quickly. Shang-Chi, probably my favorite movie out of Phase 4. Probably. Or, like, close to, like, either second place or first place.
Yes.
And no. Second place. First place is the Spider-Man movie. Gotta be. Shang-Chi is for sure second.
Yes.
Really like how they introduced his character. Really like the implications of that movie and where they go with stuff, like introducing the whole different little pocket universe with like dragons and like mystical Asian stuff, like mystical Asian gods. Then Black Widow was like for a prequel movie, so stuff that happens before, in between Civil War and like in between Infinity War and Endgame. Cool. Like it was a good little prequel movie, and like Black Widow finally got her movie. It reminded me like a James Bond movie. It was just like a fun summer action movie. It was like cool. Great. We got Yelena. Yeah, go Yelena.
Yeah, Florence Pugh, man, Florence Pugh. I even though I didn't watch that movie, what I've seen of her in Hawkeye was amazing. In Hawkeye, I like more Yelena just from Hawkeye than all of Black Widow, like from all of the phases.
So like, Black Widow has its merits. It has its merits, and it does some cool stuff. But it's probably the weakest part of Phase 4, in my opinion.
Since we are talking, sorry, small part of this. Since we're talking about Yelena, I think what I loved so much about her in Hawkeye is that I feel like Black Widow never really had a personality. She was very like straight up, oh, femme fatale, you know. Whereas Yelena has like that personality, like the way that she felt dangerous in Hawkeye, but at the same time you're like, there seems to be some good in her. So I loved that complexity of her character, and Florence Pugh is an amazing actress. So I'm a big fan for Yelena. Continue.
And lastly, Eternals. Okay, so I think it was Thor, the new Thor movie. Lots of people were complaining about how, spoilers for Eternals, at the end of Eternals, there's a giant god that is like coming out of the earth, and basically like most of the Pacific Ocean is like consumed by this god that is trying to get out of the earth. Like he's basically being born from the earth, right? So at the end of Eternals, there's like half of this giant celestial god like sticking his arm out into the air. And people are like, so are people everywhere else on the earth just not like ignoring this giant god thing in the middle of the ocean? Because like no one mentions it at all throughout of Phase 4. And like Thor, they mention the Celestials and like you see them in the movie. And then everyone's like, but there's a giant celestial on Earth. Why is no one talking about this? So it's like, it kind of represents the issue that Eternals has as a movie. Some cool stuff happens, lots of setup for characters that who knows when we'll see again. But it just feels like a nothing movie because it doesn't feel like connected to anything else that's going on. None of the characters are showing back up. They're not mentioning a giant god in the ocean. It's just like, yeah, that movie happened. All right, moving on. It's just like, okay.
You know, like honestly, me, the reason why I didn't watch it, the reason why, I'll say real quick, and then I want Felipe's opinion on Shang-Chi. I didn't watch Black Widow because I honestly never cared about her as a character, and I heard that it happened like around Civil War or something, so it just didn't feel. There's so much entertainment that if I hear a movie's bad, it's just very hard for me to watch it. Like, except sometimes I do want my own opinion, but Eternals, everybody was saying it was so bad that it just really turned me off the movie. Even though Chloe Zhao, I watched her movie Nomadland, for which she won an Oscar, and one day I will watch Eternals for the cinematography alone. And it even has freaking Rob Stark and fucking Jon Snow. So of course I just want to watch it just for those two characters. But that's why I didn't watch it. Go ahead.
I will say that Eternals is probably the most cinematography today, but yes, is probably the best out of an MCU movie in the past few years. Like it looks beautiful. Like some of the shots in that movie are just stunning, and like the way it was directed and shot was real nice. But it just didn't really add up to anything.
So yeah, out of Black Widow, Eternals, and Shang-Chi, I will 100% watch Shang-Chi based on you guys' recommendations. But Black Widow and Eternals, I have no interest. How about you, Felipe? What do you think of Shang-Chi?
So Shang-Chi is the best. The comedy, the humor, like the action, the lore building up, just like it's Phase 4, like the beginning of the saga, it's introducing the concept of these extra pocket dimensions or weird thing, not necessarily Asian, because like the comics are supposed to be the dragon thing is like alien thing, but it's slowly incrementing things. So it's probably one of the best ones. Black Widow is a good action. Overall, it feels disjointed just because it got released like way too late.
Exactly. That's why I didn't care to watch it.
Other than Yelena, I can see them introducing or touching upon a plot about the other Black Widows that were in the Red Room. They could use that as a plot point, but like bringing back to the Eternals, even though I didn't watch and you mentioned about the Giant Celestial that is just out there but nobody's talking about. My argument to that is, if they talk about it, we know it's out there, even though the movies exist in the same universe. If a different movie is not going to go to that location, why mention it? Why waste your time? And then you think they mention a certain plot point and then do nothing about it. So it might as well not talk about it, unless it's relevant to the movie itself. So just like things do correlate in some way, like whether it's a post-credit or not, then I don't care if they don't mention something that we know exists and it's so obvious.
Okay, so we've spent a lot of time on these three. Let's move next. So after Eternals, we had the Hawkeye series. Me personally, the Hawkeye series is my equal with... Actually, I would say for me it's my least favorite Marvel TV series, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier is right above it. I'm sorry. You know what? I think they did the Kingpin dirty in this show. I really liked the comedy, but Kingpin was so strong and threatening in the Daredevil TV series, and I didn't like how he was very cartoony at the end of this TV series, and how I forgot her name. That's how much I care about this. The girl in it, Hailey Steinfeld. I didn't. Yeah. Sorry, what's her name? Kate. Yeah. So I didn't like how Kate Bishop beat Kingpin way too easily. Out of all, I think anyway, out of all the Marvel TV series, I would say it's my least favorite. And while I was watching it, I loved every scene with Jeremy Renner. I think Jeremy Renner is an amazing actor, and I think that his relationship with Kate Bishop was amazing. But there was more substance for me in Falcon the Winter Soldier. Like it's just. White Russell was just such a great character that's why I put it over that. How about you guys, Hawkeye?
Excuse me. I'll just start because I didn't watch the movie, but I was watching some reviews.
The TV series.
So I like the concept. Yeah. So I enjoyed the concept of the Kingpin, like him being brought back, but like how it's sort of like a split universe, multiple of what we watch on the Netflix Daredevil show. So it's like do we know exactly 100% show? Like everything is canon, but now at this point everything is a multiverse. So it's still technically the same Kingpin, but just like a different path.
We'll
And the
talk
next
about
is the
that.
best, right?
Yeah, we'll talk about that more in detail of what you just said in the next video when we talk about Phase 5 and 6. How about you, Matt? What do you think, Hawkeye?
It's my second favorite. So first favorite is
Really?
Loki, and then Hawkeye is my second favorite, and then Wanda is third.
You like Hawkeye more than Miss Marvel?
Yes, Miss Marvel is
Really?
fourth. Like I
Okay.
really liked Miss Marvel. It's fourth.
I love
But,
Miss Marvel, but yeah. Okay, so let's jump next because next is Spider-Man: No Way Home. Let's start with you, Felipe. What do you think? Where do you rank it?
I,
Where do you rank it compared to the other three Spider-Man movies of this? Yeah.
I think it's probably the best Tom Holland Spider-Man. I don't think it beats Spider-Man 2, like the original, Tobey Maguire.
Okay. How about you,
But it's
Matt?
probably my favorite. Yes, go ahead.
I agree. It's the best one from Tom Holland for sure. Uh, do I dare say no? No, it's not better.
There. It's a hot take season.
What
It's
am
very
I saying?
hot. It's
That's not
very
better than the
hot.
classic. It's not better than the classic. No.
It's not. It's not. So I'm gonna have a hot take. I love watching No Way Home in the theaters. For me, Far From Home is a better movie. I love Far From Home because I love the little escapade of in Europe. I love Mysterio. My problem with No Way Home is the first half of the movie. I don't think it stands the test of time. Which is, you know how you watch a movie, you really like it in the theater, and then a couple of months later you're like, did I like it that much? And my problem with it is, first, when Peter Parker goes to make the wish with Doctor Strange, that took me out of the movie, because if you're going to go make a wish that is going to change the fabric of the world, that could change the fabric of the world, can you at least rehearse what the question you're gonna ask? Like, I found it way too cartoony that Doctor Strange is going to do this illegal spell that his other I forgot the name of the other sorcerer that's with him. His
Wong.
right,
Wong.
Wong. Yeah. I'm sorry, Wong, but like, Wong told him don't do it, and he's gonna do it, and he's not even gonna ask him what his question is, what his wish is, before going to do it. Like, if I go to do a freaking 5% like presentation at school in front of the class, I'm going to rehearse at least once, or at least check my notes. You're going to change the fabric of the world without checking what the question is? That took me out of the movie. For me, for me, I got back into the movie when Andrew Garfield shows up, because Andrew Garfield was my favorite thing in the movie. The second half of the movie with the three Spider-Mans, perfect, loved it. But the first half, too cartoony, and also, you know what would have made this movie better for me? Is if in Multiverse of Madness we would have found out that the Doctor Strange that made this mistake was another Doctor Strange, was evil Doctor Strange. But no, they didn't. So that means that Doctor Strange was just dumb, which it just took me out of the movie. So sorry. Far From Home for me was better, but I still liked it, but I didn't love it.
That's like actually point. I just want to say that I agree, but one thing I want to say, like two things. I think the problem is Marvel's own undoing, because there's too much comedy. But this is nowhere near as much as comedy as in Love and Thunder, which I'm going to get soon. This is like the Marvel touch. But on the other hand, this go well in hand with Stephen Stranger's own personality. He's cocky, he's arrogant. He's not even he has the title of Supreme, what was it, the title here?
Sorcerer Supreme.
Sorcerer Supreme. At this point he got revived, but it's Wong already. But it's in character, he's arrogant. It's like, oh, I can do this because I'm better. Which, in turn, to be fair, he is still more powerful than Wong, but in title only, so show some fucking respect. So, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But, again, the cartoony, right? It's the too much comedy, but it's still in character, surprisingly. But, because it's Marvel and it feels like too happy-go-lucky, by the end, it doesn't feel there's enough stakes, or lasting stakes. Lots of stakes there. It feels
True.
like too happy.
I agree.
So,
No, you're absolutely correct, Felipe. You have some very good takes today, Felipe. So, do we have anything more to say about No Way Home? Or we can move on? But still, No Way Home, I'm giving it shit, but I still think it's a way better movie than most of the movies in Phase 1 and Phase 2. And it's way better than Ant-Man. It's way better than Ant-Man and all those movies. Like, one of the reasons I wanted us to do this video is because, and we'll talk about this once we finish talking about Phase 4, and then we'll do an overall conclusion. Oops.
Yes.
Okay, so next is Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. So we did a review that's on the channel if people want to see a more detailed opinion of what we think. I personally really liked Multiverse of Madness. I am a huge fan of Wanda. I am a huge fan of Scarlet Witch character overall. I was a huge fan before she even existed in the movies. So seeing her as a villain, seeing her in her full force power, that was what I had always dreamed of. So personally, I really like the Multiverse of Madness. It's definitely in my top 10 of favorite Marvel movies. I wouldn't say it would crack the top 5. It would not crack the top 5, but it's in my top 10. How about you guys?
Same, I agree. Like all the flaws that people talk about, we can nitpick, but overall,
Exactly.
I think it builds up like, again on the character and the lore as a whole.
And before we go to Matt, we had a very interesting conversation off screen the other day about this movie. Felipe, you were like, oh, but I think it was marketed as a horror movie, and I was like, wait, who said it was supposed to be a horror movie? And you were like, oh, that's what the trailer said. As you know, when there's a big movie that I'm highly anticipated for, that I really cannot wait for, I'm not gonna watch the trailers. So I was not expecting a horror movie, so I didn't, I didn't have these false expectations. And if people were expecting a horror movie, well, then you were lied to by the marketing department, and that's not the movie's fault. Just don't trust the marketing material. Don't trust trailers. Like I like to take this example. Night Shyamalan had made this movie called The Village. The Village, it was following his big successes with The Sixth Sense and Signs, and when you watch the trailer, had a full-on horror movie. And everybody went to watch this movie expecting a horror movie, and everybody was disappointed. The Village is an amazing movie, but it's not a horror movie. So if the trailer had not marketed it as a horror movie, people would have liked it way more. I'm done. It's you, Matt.
Good point.
I think I said enough in our episode a long time ago. But
Yeah.
I remember talking way too much in that episode. So it's one of my favorite movies of the phase for sure.
Nice! I'm so happy to hear you that. Because it is also for real, man. I still agree. I love that movie, man.
It is a great movie. I watched it on my birthday. I loved it. I was like, yes, this is what I wanted.
I'm happy there's so much people who give shit to this movie. Like, I'm watching trash statements and comments like, wait, you liked Multiverse of Madness? I always want to be like, shut the fuck up, monkey. I'm sorry. That's my second F word. That's my last one. I know YouTube, you're allowed to one. I went to a second. Okay, next. And it's good that we have actually those clips of us talking about Moon Knight and Doctor Strange, because if people want to hear us talk more about this, if anyone, then they can go back to that. So next is Miss Marvel, and then Moon Knight. I honestly said everything I had to say in my in the spoiler review that we had. It's my second favorite Marvel show after Loki. How about you guys? You know what? It's tied with WandaVision. I love WandaVision. WandaVision, the final episode, I didn't like it that much, but you know what? Moon Knight is my third. I would say it's Loki, WandaVision, then Moon Knight. Okay, how about you, Felipe?
I think they're both good, but they build on similar and different things. Just like Shang-Chi and the Dragon, this one introduces like the clandestines and the planes of the gods there. So it's the same thing but different. So they're all pocket entities of the same universe. So that's what they're expanding on the introduction of the current saga. So they all do what they're supposed to do.
So we all like Moon Knight though, right?
Yes.
We all think it's good. Okay, so we don't think to talk more about it. So now next, Miss Marvel, and then we will finish our conversation on Phase 4, a breakdown analysis with Thor: Love and Thunder. So Miss Marvel, what do you guys think?
I just mentioned it's pretty good. Like
Yeah.
it does similar things to Moon Knight,
Yeah.
and we go with the expectation thinking it's a teen drama, but it's not. At least
Ah,
not to
yeah.
me. Like, not to mention about the minorities and other aspects, right? They don't dwell about the romance, but like her wanted to figure out herself on as a hero, but also more minority and more representation. That's all for me.
The Karachi episode, when she goes to Karachi, how amazing was that episode? Like literally seeing Pakistan, seeing like all different culture. You know when she goes to Karachi, I swear to God, man, it like I've been a long time ago. I went to Istanbul way before it was like I don't know what the current political situation there is, but when it was peaceful. I'm sure it's still peaceful, but whatever. And it reminded me a lot of walking in the underground market of Istanbul. It like reminded me a lot of my country. It reminded me of like when you go to Istanbul, you always have to haggle. I hate ranking these TV shows because I would say Miss Marvel is like special place in my heart. You know, I can't compare her to the other series, but God, I absolutely love that TV show. How about you, Matt?
As the token white guy here,
I did not expect you to say that.
token white guy here, I loved it. It was great.
Oh, God.
I'm the white guy.
How can I go on after you said that? That's the token. Oh my God, you absolutely murdered me. Okay, and one thing I want to say about Miss Marvel, because we're probably never going to talk about it again. The actress, literally, for me, when we talk about diversity, like the conversation, and I don't even care that this video is gonna be super long because I really want to talk about Miss Marvel about this. I think that I saw conversations about Miss Marvel all over Twitter, and everybody was like, I saw so many people from New York and stuff like that, like Tom Sweeney and everything, be like, I related more to Miss Marvel than to any other Marvel property because I grew up around Indians, I grew up around Pakistanis, and you see, like, it shows you this whole different culture. It shows you like like anyway, I'm gonna go on too long about it, so I think you guys get it. All right, next is Thor Love and Thunder, and we'll end the breakdown with this, and then we'll do a conclusion. What do you guys think about Thor Love and Thunder? I personally wouldn't say maybe I yeah, I love this movie. I would say I really, 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 really like it. I am very in the opposition of everybody that complain about this movie. I think it was really, really great. It has flaws. I've had a conversation off screen with Felipe about it. It has flaws. There is no freaking whatever it's called. Not enough God butchering. But what do you guys think about it?
Just very quickly, I'm not sure how much we talked about, but way too much comedy in this one. Sure, it's a Taika Waititi movie, but this one had way too many unnecessary humor where it didn't need to undermine certain emotional scenes, and then it was beyond. And not enough butchering, but overall, I give it probably a solid 6.5. Like,
Wow.
it's
Okay.
amazing action where it is. Maybe a 7 if I'm generous, but
No, no,
like, it is
no,
a
no. You
good
said you
movie.
said 6.5.
You said 6.5. You
Yeah.
can't take it back.
But,
You're the
no.
butcher of the movies.
I'm butchering the score.
You're the Taika Waititi butcher. All right. How about you, Matt?
I'll make it easy. I'll do it this way. I'll rank the 4 Thor movies in my opinion. So best one is Ragnarok. That's
Of course.
probably a 9 out of 10. Like that movie is almost perfect. Then it would be this one, Love and Thunder, which I would put probably at. I'll be kinder than Felipe. I'll say 7.5. Like it's still really good. It has its flaws, but it's a good movie overall.
7.5 is very good. Yeah.
Yeah. Then it's the first Thor movie at probably a 6.5. and then Dark World is like a -0, like a -40 or something. Like that. That's not a movie I want to think about.
All right. So I'm not gonna talk much about Thor: Love and Thunder. I really, really like this movie, and honestly, for me, I understand people who don't like it because I think if you don't like the humor, you're not gonna like this movie. And you said there's too much comedy. Me, I see this movie as a full-on comedy, and from the first scene, I started laughing. Like the comedy in this movie, like it went like it resonated with me. I laughed from A to Z. Of course, like a couple of scenes that are not funny with the Christian. I think Christian Bale is my third or maybe even third favorite Marvel villain. After
Christian Bale is the creepiest villain that they've done so far. Like Christian Bale went full on. He's like, "Oh, you want me to be a bad guy? Oh, I will be a creepy bad guy." It was like, "Oh, all right."
Me, I'd give this movie an 8 out of 10, and it would be higher if it wasn't. I hated the scene with Zeus. The only comedy in the movie that didn't resonate with me is Zeus. I think Russell Crowe went way too much. And the second is, I agree, maybe there was not enough god butchering. But that's it. Everything else, absolutely loved. All right, so now...
No. Guys, before we end this, I have to say, I could not stand the goats. The goats needed to be quiet. I was like, after the first yell, I was like, "Oh no, this is gonna happen way too much, isn't it?" And it just kept going, and I was like, "No, just shut up, please, just shut up."
So you see, like I think comedy is so subjective. That's why it's hard to debate this movie because I love the goats. Like when there's a serious scene and they're going towards the black and white world, which do you guys remember how amazing the black and white scene is? Like God, that was freaking amazing.
That was the only part that I liked with the goats.
When they
crashed in the goats yelled, I was like, okay, that was funny. But every other time with the goats, I was like, no, shut up, please.
Yeah. All right, so now to conclude this video, I know the goal of Otaku Informers 2.0 is to do short form videos, but we're talking about all of Marvel Phase 4. This is a breakdown analysis, so it's okay. This video is long, but in my overall opinion, Phase 4 is the second best phase after Phase 3. Hard to beat Phase 3. It has some of the greatest movies. Felipe is frozen. Okay, now he's back. And that's it. I think people who say that Phase 4, oh, what are they doing? It's the worst phase. I think these people have not looked at the list of Phase 1 and Phase 2. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, just having seen that list, how can you even say that? Anyways, I'm done.
I just need to say that we're all different. The comedy scenes in Love and Thunder that you didn't like, I loved it. And I was a few of that.
Yeah.
We're all different. The one thing I didn't like is like after she broke the sink, spoiler alert, and then Rocky comes to comfort him, and then they go on to like full scary movie comedy skit. That was just unnecessary. After the first line, should have stopped there. But anyway, overall, pretty good. With just like different comedy moments. But overall, I think people complaining about season 1, Phase 4, they ignore the fact that they're comparing the first phase of a new saga to a whole saga. So people like they don't know what to compare here. Oranges and lemons.
I think that's the smartest thing we've said in this whole thing is you, Felipe, because you're absolutely correct. We're judging Phase 4 compared to Phase 3, which was the end of 3 phases, and it's unfair. It's like the Patriots winning six Super Bowls and winning like all of these Super Bowls in a row, whatever, and then they lose one season and then you give them shit and you say, oh, they're horrible. You know what I mean? It's like you can't compare them to the best that they were at. How about you, Matt?
Exactly.
As a counterpoint, I think one of the main things that people are comparing to is that Phase 1 and 2 had a more obvious point of like where they're going to. Like Phase 1 and 2, they like showed Thanos right away really early on.
Yeah, that's
they
true.
Kept mentioning Thanos. They kept saying this guy is coming if we don't do this and if we don't get the stones. Like it was much more obvious where they're leading to. Whereas Phase 4, none of it felt connected, right? Like there was not one big guy, other than in Loki at the end with Kang, the one who remained, right? That was the only part where we're like, okay, maybe he's the big bad, but then like he was never mentioned anywhere else. I think that's what some people are having trouble with and saying like Phase 4 wasn't as good, because there wasn't like a easily recognizable, okay, this is where they're leading to.
Yeah.
That's probably just as a counterpoint.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah.
Because I think in hindsight they should have started with Loki Phase 4 and then not mention other things and keep it open until we see
You're
like
right.
sparingly movie like Spider-Man or Doctor Strange, like with a lot of gaps in between, to see that there is a multiverse and then incursions and other things going on multiple. So they should have made like Loki, a movie that just moves the timeline forward, and then another movie like Shang-Chi or TV show that adds these like pocket dimensions within universes
Yeah.
to build up and expand the existing universe. They should have found like a way to balance that out and then go moving forward like Hawkeye and then Doctor Strange and so on. So this
Okay.
is like why people like it's disjointed.
You guys brought up some very good points that it reminded me. I think the reason why Phase 4, it's not as good as Phase 3, of course, but it made me fall back in love with Marvel, because a lot of the things that people criticize Phase 4 is what I like about Phase 4, which is it's author movies. They gave, like, WandaVision, starting with WandaVision was a big risk, and I love that risk. Starting with a show that's in black and white, that is going back to classic TV shows that the mainstream doesn't know, is a big risk, and I love when studios take risks. I hated Ant-Man because it was so safe. Like, there's so many safe Marvel movies. I want risky Marvel movies. Give Taika Waititi a movie and tell him, do whatever the hell you want. You get Thor, Love and Thunder. That's what I love. I loved how Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, it's Sam Raimi being Sam Raimi. And you know why I hated Ant-Man? I like kicking Ant-Man just because Edgar Wright was trying to do what Sam Raimi and Thor, Love and Thunder did, which is they didn't let Edgar Wright do what he wanted, and he left the project. I wanted to see what Ant-Man would have been if Edgar Wright would have been able to do what he wanted. I wanted to see his vision, and I like how they're giving these directors the ability to do their vision. And yeah, this video is very long, by the way, but I'm gonna cut it off halfway, and we'll release it in 2 parts. So yeah, all right. So that's it. This was our breakdown analysis of Phase 4. And I think it was a great conversation. So now we'll do another one where we'll discuss Phase 5 and 6. I hope you have been informed.